just north of Santa Barbara, camping. Glamping, I think is the word, glamping. A place called El Capitan Cabins. At a place that could only be described as majestic. Well, also bucolic, serene, magical. You can hear the creek running, birds chirping. What kind of a person would leave here to go play poker?
Look at those aces, so pretty. But before we jump into this first hand, a quick shout out to my El Cap peeps. So great seeing everyone, and please don't think of me as the guy who didn't make enough chicken tacos Saturday night. Just remember me as the guy who brought a big pot of chili on Friday night. And if you were curious why I disappeared for a couple hours on Sunday, it's this. Okay, so I settle in, don't really settle in actually, because I've been at this table for just a few minutes, maybe one orbit, when I look down at aces. So it's been so long since I've had aces that I pretty much forgot how to play them, which will be proved with this hand. A couple of folds and a call to me, and I open for $7, which is too small in any game, but I did it for a reason. I was hoping one of the blinds would raise me. Sometimes a late position, small raise will inspire a blind to get frisky. But no frisky business on this hand. I get a call from the button and a call from the big blind. So three of us are going to see this pot with $21 brewing in the middle. The flop comes 8-10 jack with two spades, which is just a terrible flop for aces. So many hands in their range just got there. The big blind checks to me. I still got aces. It's only a $20 pot. I am going to lead out and see what happens. So I bet 10. The button calls 10 and the big blind calls as well. A small spade on the turn, and now the big blind leads into me for $10. Okay. I instantly hate this hand. Am I really going to fold aces 5 minutes into my session for $10? I'm not. I call, and then the button goes all in for his remaining $20. The big blind calls 10, and now it's back to me. There's 100 in the pot, and it's $10 to me. I'm getting 10-1 odds. And I know I'm losing. Not only am I losing, there's a good chance I'm drawing dead. But it's $10. I got aces. I call. The river brings a fourth spade, and now the big blind checks. I check. The button is already all in, so he turns over his hands. He's got pocket queens with the queen of spades, so on the river, he hits a queen high flush. The big blind had two spades, 6-7 of spades, so he hit his flush on the turn, and I was, in fact, drawing dead on the turn. All right, so I lose the first hand. It's about a $100 pot. Something to consider, though, is that the button on my direct left cold calls my $7 raise with pocket queens on the button and about $30 behind. Doesn't bother to shove his last $30 in with pocket queens. Moving on. This is maybe two hands later. I've got pocket jacks. Couple folds to me. Player on my right limps in for 2. I make it $8. Player on my left calls the 8, folds all the way around to the player on my right, who goes all in for $30. Okay. He limps, re-raises, all in for $30. I look down, I have about 100. Player on my left has about 100 or so. This seems like an excellent time to re-raise and isolate the guy on my right. So I go all in. Player on my left surprises me by calling me. Okay. So it's a three-way all in for about a 220, 230 pot. Flop is queen 10-9, but the turn brings out an 8. Okay. Hey, that's a straight. River's a blank. Turn over my jacks. Proudly show my straight. Guy on my left, once again, cold called me with queens. This time he flopped top set, but ended up losing to my straight. Guy on my right had ace-10. He's got nothing. Take down a nice $200 pot. A little while later, Santa Ana's, I don't think you can see it, but the Santa Ana's blowing. A little while later, I pick up ace-9 in the cutoff, and this very cool hand develops. First off, The under-the-gun player goes all in blind for $15. The player next to act had just won a big pot. He's kind of stacking and not paying attention, and he puts out the 15. I know he looked, but he's not thinking much about it, and I don't think he noticed that the other player went all in blind. So it's folded around to me. Ace-9, like I said, not a super premium, but feels like the perfect opportunity to squeeze and get out the player who's not paying attention. So I make it 45. Fold, fold, fold. The player who called the 15 thinks about it, goes into the tank, and calls me. So now 3 of us are looking at this flop. The flop is 10-3-3, and he checks to me. Honestly, I really like this flop. It doesn't really connect well with any speculative hand that he might be playing. So when he checks to me, I decide I'm going to take a stab at this one, and I bet 40 bucks. He then check raises me to 140. Oops. I got caught trying to steal one. I can't think of any bluff. There's no draw out there. There's no bluff out there. Even if he doesn't have a great hand, even if he just has, I don't know, Queen 10 or something, I'm way behind. I fold. I give him an inner salute, good hand type of thing. I got caught trying to steal. It happens. I fold and I move to a bigger game. Now I'm at the 2-3 game. All the stacks are a lot bigger, but he's got about 500 in front of him. I don't have a lot of time. I got to get back to my glamping peeps. So a couple orbits go by where nothing really happens, and then I pick up ace queen in the hijack. I have 2 limpers when he gets to me, and I open for $12. Button calls, player on my right calls. 3 of us are going to see a flop, which is ace king 9. It's checked to me. I bet 20 into about 35, get called by the button. Player on my right folds. We go to a turn, which is a deuce. At this point, I decide to keep my foot on the gas and bet 45, which he calls. The river brings us a queen. Now we're looking at ace, king, queen, 9, deuce. Helicopter. The river puts a queen on the board, which gives us 2 pair. So I decide to get a little funky and make a very small bet of $25, giving him some rope. He takes the bait and makes it 75. I like this a lot. I feel very confident that this is my hand. I don't think I can ever raise here because he's going to fold all of his bluffs and all of his value hands are crushing me. I happily call his raise, turn over my ace queen, and he mucks, dragging a solid $300 pot. And as I'm pulling in this pot, you can see here, I look down at ace king. Here we go again. This time it's folded around to me. I open to 12 again, and once again the button calls. 2 of us are going to see a flop, which is ace 5, 6. And for some reason, my spidey senses start tingling. So I just bet 10, and he calls me. The turn is a 9. I don't like it. He's got a piece of this, maybe a lot of this. Maybe he's got a couple little pair. Maybe, I don't know. Something's not right. I make a smallish bet of 20. He calls, and the river's a 7. And now I shut down and check, and he bets 30 into me. He got there. He got there. But I've kept this pot very small, and honestly, I'm not going to fold to a $30 bet when I've got top pair, top kicker, even though the board is a mess for me. 5, 6, 7, 9. It's a mess. I still call that 30. Of course, he's got 8, 9. Of course, he made the straight. I win a nice-sized pot with my ace queen. Then I lose a medium-sized pot with my ace king. Then I rack up and head out. Okay, that was super fun. Tiny room, big action. Tiny room, big action. That should be their logo. So behind me it says, "Welcome to the river card of freedom," because it's usually the river card of death when it comes to poker. Chumash, that was fun. Played a bunch of hands quickly in about 2 hours. Basically broke even. A lot of fun. Glad I got to sneak away from that paradise that I was in camping. To, of course, come to a dark, dank casino and play cards for a couple of hours, heading back to paradise.